Welcome back to the Varsity Squad Show. What's up, guys? I'm your host, Sheldon.
I'm Landon.
Landon, how was your weekend?
It was pretty busy. Had a football game Friday.
Okay.
It was a rough one, I'll say that.
Rough. It was rough.
Other than that, I just chilled from the game. I was pretty sore.
Took it easy on Saturday.
Yeah, just chilling,
Yeah.
What about you?
Friday night, went to your game, was up late, and then had to be up the next morning for tackle games all day, and that's pretty much all I did Saturday. Left the house at 6, didn't get home till was it like 8 o'clock at night.
Long day.
So long day at Saturday, but it's fun. That's what I do. Now, guys, we want to jump straight into our AIA recap. In volleyball, Red Mesa took down Seligman High in all 3 sets. Rock Point edged out Ash Fork in 3 sets out of 5. Sequoia Pathway beat Gilbert Classical in the fifth and final set, 15-10. Williams beat Joseph City in the final set, 15-12. Now in AIA soccer, Chino Valley beat Payson 6-2. St. John's got smacked by Blue Ridge 9-0. Sedona Red Rock beat North Valley Christian 5-0. Now Landon, tell us about our CAA recap.
In CAA girls volleyball, Basis Awatuki couldn't get it done against Tri-City Christian Academy, losing all 3 sets played. Holy Family Academy beat 91st Psalm Christian in all 3 sets. Basis Mesa edged out James Madison Prep 3-1. In CAA boys soccer, Verde Valley School beat Arrowhead Christian 2-1. Tri-City Christian was able to beat A-plus charter schools 3-2. Heritage Academy Maricopa and Phoenix College Prep battled, but the game ended 1-1. Basis Peoria and West Phoenix High also had a tie at 2-2. In CAA football, Gila Bend had a shootout with New Way Academy, but came out with a win, winning 56-30. Skyline Prep Academy continues their dominance with another blowout, beating Imagine at Coolidge 70-0. AZ Compass edged out James Madison Prep, winning 20-18.
Wow, some great games in the football, the volleyball, the soccer. 70-0, you said? Skyline Prep, they're still undefeated. Another, crazy win, 70-0. I can't imagine. I imagine that the coach probably put the starters on the bench and put the backups in late in the game, but they probably scored too.
Mm-hmm.
To get 70 points. And then there was some close soccer games, 2-2, 1-1.
Tie 1-1.
Yeah.
That's defensive.
Very.
Anything.
Very.
Lots of turnovers.
Very. Now, tell me a little bit about your game Friday night.
Well, it started off. We kicked it off, and they got a kick return. It was pretty rough,
To start the game, yeah.
And I think it kind of messed up our energy coming into the game. And then we had the ball, we fumbled, and then they got the ball back and scored again, and it was 14-0. Now, we were able to put 2 field goals up on the board. We're saying it was 6-14, and that's how it stayed the rest of the game.
Just couldn't get it done late in the game.
Yeah.
Couldn't find the end zone again.
Now, I will say this. There were some faults by the referees. There were some pretty big faults by the referees. We had a pick, and we were running it back. Nobody in sight. Should have been a pick 6. Inverted whistle.
The play's killed right there.
Mm-hmm.
Still your ball, but the play's going to be done.
And then we had it was a minute left, and we were about to score. We throw it, catch in the end zone. Referees call it a touchdown, and then there's whistles being blown, and it's a holding.
And then you also had a illegal touching by one of the receivers going out of bounds, coming back in, which that's on you guys, but certainly it is tough trying to win when you keep getting penalties and inverted whistles called back.
Yeah, there was a handful of penalties that game.
Yeah, both teams really. There's a lot of penalties in both teams.
Yeah.
Now that was a rivalry game, but there really wasn't a whole lot of, at least from what I saw, there wasn't a whole lot of dirty shots or trash talk from what I saw, at least in the stands. I can't hear what you guys are saying on the field. So was there a lot of that in the game?
Oh yeah, there was.
Really?
A lot.
I mean, was it all football though? I mean, was it all?
It was parts of it, yeah.
Really?
There was some plays where you just start pushing after the play and all that.
I mean, that happens mostly in every game. Sometimes with the O linemen, they get a little handsy. Now, before the game, you know, you guys had your banner that you guys run out of. What did that banner say?
I actually didn't know because I was at like the back of the whole thing,
Right.
so I didn't really see it.
All I saw was that it said something about the storm is ending because of the monsoon, Valley Vista monsoon.
Oh, I think it said monsoon season is over.
Monsoon season is over.
Yeah.
And clearly, it's still going. I think that's the 10th game. I think the 10th game in a row they beat you guys, right, for varsity. So that was really, you were really trying to end that streak. They're at 9. Now they're at 10.
And I really think we could have beat them.
Yeah.
If there wasn't those penalties.
Right.
But because our defense was doing their job in the second half by not letting them score. But I mean,
right.
Happens
all the time that we don't even know about sometimes. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up our AIA and CAA recap. Up next, we'll talk about our Cardinals player and coach of the week, so don't go away. Welcome back. Now it's time to present our Cardinals Player of the Week. Now this award is voted on by Cardinals defensive lineman Corey Peters, former high school coach Kelly Epley, 12 News sports anchor Cameron Cox, former 12 News sports anchor Bruce Cooper, high school broadcaster Michael Caratuno, and AZ Central writer Richard Obert. Now each award given is certified and signed by NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, Cardinals owner Michael Bidwell, head coach Cliff Kingsbury, our Cardinals cheerleading staff, and of course our team mascot Big Red. Now for the Week 4 pick, quarterback Adam DeMonte was selected from American Leadership Academy, Gilbert North. Now, Adam DeMonte became the starter for ALA Gilbert last year in his junior year, and he was a touchdown machine, recording 46 touchdown passes and 5 rushing touchdowns, and had a QBR, a quarterback rating, of 127.9. So far this season, he has thrown 21 touchdowns in 5 games and only 2 interceptions. He has also rushed for 6 touchdowns this year, already surpassing what he did last year. It is on pace for even more. Now, he received this award from his Week 4 game against Prescott, in which he racked up 464 pass yards and had 70 rush yards on only 4 attempts. ALA ended up beating Prescott 55-35 on the road. Now we want to talk about our Coach of the Week. Landon, take us away.
This week, Roy Lopez from Desert Ridge was awarded Cardinals Coach of the Week. Lopez began his coaching career at New Mexico Highlands University before making his way to the East Valley to coach Marcos de Niza High School. He coached them for 10 seasons and ended with an 88-32 record. He then made the trip to the West Valley to become the head coach for Tolleson, but unfortunately only coached 1 year with them due to COVID-19 ending their season and several other issues occurring. Despite having an unfavorable beginning to their season, Lopez was presented the award for their overtime win against Williamsfield, a game that ended with the Jaguars winning 34-33. A game where both schools traded touchdowns back and forth before Desert Ridge was able to get the win in overtime with a field goal kick. This was a big win for Roy Lopez and the Jags, defeating Williams, who was 2-1 going into the game, who only had a loss to Castile.
Wow, seems like a great game they had against Williamsfield. Now, going back to Adam DeMonte, 21 TDs, 2 interceptions. Who does that sound like to you in the NFL? That sounds like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers consistently has high touchdowns, low interception rate. You know, that ratio it's such a big difference because he just doesn't throw picks. He doesn't throw those bad passes very often.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, Adam hasn't thrown very many at all. I think last year he threw 46 touchdowns, like we said. I think he threw 6 interceptions last year, which is a great ratio. You never want to throw an interception, but to only throw 6, so obviously it's a passing offense for him to throw 46 touchdowns, to only have 6 really, really bad passes to the defense. Pretty impressive. And what do you think about him?
I think he sounds like a very impressive quarterback. In being able to be a dual threat and being able to rush too. I mean,
right.
Giving off Lamar vibes right there too, you know?
Lamar, yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, being able to rush and throw, that's scary when you're a defense going against that, because you're looking for his pass game, seeing he can throw all these touchdowns, but then in the middle of the game realizing he can run the ball too. So you gotta, if anything, put a couple more people in the box, and I mean,
you put more guys in the box, so then you're taking
exactly.
away coverage.
So that's what's scary.
Now
That's what's scary about him, because
right.
I mean, he's a dual threat. So I mean, if anything, just watch out for him, because he's coming this season to put more and more stats up on the board.
Correct. Right. And then every Coach of the Week we've had, you know, their background, they started as a college coach, you know, a positions coach. Roy Lopez coached at a university, and then he went on to coach Marcos de Niza. 10 seasons, 88-32. What do you think about that? 88-32 is a great record. I mean, that's a great record.
Yeah. I think it's great, because 88-32 is very impressive.
That means every season was probably a winning season for that school.
Exactly.
Under his leadership.
If anything, he's a winning coach. He doesn't lose very often, and if he does, he's just a better team. I mean, you can't really coach against a team that's just better in every way, you know?
Right. And then Roy Lopez's son, Roy Lopez Jr., he actually plays in the NFL, if you didn't know. He plays for the Houston Texans. He's a defensive end, I believe. Huh. So, you know, obviously, you know, he was gifted to make it to the NFL, but his dad's a really, really good high school coach. So do you think maybe his son benefited from his coaching?
Most likely, just because if the coach is definitely a winner, so the son is going to turn out to be successful and a winner if he follows under his dad's way of football. So I mean, him coming out there and winning games and having a winning record as a coach is definitely going to fall into his son being just a great athlete all the way around,
Right.
and being able to push his way and get to the NFL. So
Right. So him in the NFL, do you think that maybe the players that he coaches, they see that, hey, your son made the NFL, and I'm sure you coached him throughout his career, throughout his youth football career, maybe high school. You can do the same for us. You know, we have an NFL shot for you to be our coach. Do you think that's true?
Definitely, because say if I was in those high school players' shoes,
Right.
and I was saying, oh, my coach has a son in the NFL, I'm thinking my coach can do the same with me. He can lead me to that place, because he definitely got his son looks.
Right.
So that means if he sees a great star on his team, great players on his team, he
Might
can
give
get them looks
same
too.
looks as well.
Yeah.
And obviously, with success, you're going to have, eyeballs looking at you, scouts coming out, just with mere success. Now, they may go out to those games, and he may have a heavy pass offense, a heavy rush offense, but no matter how they operate their offense, their defense, their special teams, they have a winning record. They're 4-1, I believe you said, right? And they're 88-32 with his last team he coached. So he's just a winner. He's just a winner. Now his son plays for the Texans, who isn't the most winningest team, but he's in the NFL, so we're not going to talk about that. But certainly great for Adam, great for Roy to get this award. I'm really glad the Cardinals were able to present it to them this week. Hey guys, that's going to wrap up our Cardinals Coach and Player of the Week. Up next, we're going to talk about a few games that happened in AIA football, so don't go away. Welcome back. Now we're going to talk about a few games that happened Friday night that we want to give extra special attention to. Landon, tell us about our AIA football game of the week.
Always. In the AIA football game of the week, number 5 Saguaro faced off against number 3 Liberty. The game was a very defensive game with many punts and turnover on downs. At the half, Liberty was up 19-10. With 2 minutes to go in the third, Saguaro quarterback Devin Dampier ran the ball into the end zone on a 4th down play to make the score 19-17. And Saguaro answered with an 8-minute drive in which they found the end zone to make the score 26-17. Through Liberty's first 3 games, they averaged 50 points and only allowing Colorado team to score on them. This offense against Saguaro was able to slow their pace and really work the clock to their advantage while still finding ways to finish drives off. And now through 5 games, Saguaro sits 2-3 and is at risk for missing the playoffs. Keep in mind, they were champs last year in the Open Division. They will have another tough opponent this week as they will face Desert Edge. Now, Sheldon, could you tell us about Central High School?
Of course. The Central High Bobcats have had a near perfect start to their season, sitting now 4-1 thanks to their biggest win of the season, beating Alhambra High School 48-0. Now Central's only loss was to Casa Grande in a shootout game in which the final score was 40-30, with Casa Grande coming out on top. But have had 4 solid wins on their season outside of that loss and have definitely put them at the top spot in the 5A division for a playoff spot. Now, Dominique Bacci, Central's QB1, has been the motor to this Bobcat offense and the driving force against the opposing defenses. He's racked up 1,367 pass yards, 16 total touchdowns this year so far, and I presume many more will come. Now, this week they will play South Mountain on the road with hopes of becoming 5-1 when it's all said and done. Now, Landon, we already talked about your game a little bit. Let's dive in a little bit just to some of those key moments where you think the referees really did make a mistake.
So, the biggest mistakes that were made, we were having a great drive down the field, 60-yard drive so far, and the refs got the downs wrong.
Yep.
It was 1st down, and they had 2nd down in the box.
Yep.
Supposed to be 3rd down, and we have a play, and they said it was turnover on downs after that play.
Yeah, if I can remember, it was you guys took a sack. It was 2nd and 14, something like that, and there's a pass interference call. It was a great call. They moved the sticks. It's a 15-yard penalty, not an automatic 1st down, but 15 gave you the 1st down, and they still had 2 in the box. That's something I just saw from the stands. I'm like, I don't think they ever changed that, but I kind of saw that they still had 2 when they moved them, and just kind of figured they'll fix it. Because usually they do. I've been on cruise before where they'll move the sticks, and right before the next down starts, this is a symbol. We kind of put our hand up like that, to fix the box. I didn't see no one doing that. So just 5 referees all missed it. The box guys missed it. All the chains guys missed it, and it really cost your team because like you said, a 60-yard drive, and that 60-yard drive wouldn't have happened if they didn't have the end of the whistle. Because it's going to be a pick 6. And you guys even got a couple holding calls at the beginning of that drive, and it really didn't seem like it was going very well. But I think that was a drive where Brody had that big catch, right? Or Brady had the big run. Sorry.
Yeah, he had it was a 76-yard run.
76?
Yeah.
Wow, that's very impressive. But obviously, when you don't get that extra down, when it should be 4th down now, but they're saying that was 4th down, the last play, really cost you guys. And then fast forward, they have to punt. You guys get the ball again. You drive down again. That holding call. Did you see what the referee said on the sideline?
So I heard that we scored, and there's a holding call thrown, and the referee on Valley's side walked by and said, "What is this? Come on, man."
To the call, you think?
Yeah. And I think, it's just, I don't know.
Do you think maybe one of the referees was just made a little, people called him this flag happy. Maybe that game just had a quick trigger for flags.
Yeah.
obviously I'm a referee, so whenever I go out there, I know that I'll have to throw flags at some point. It's just a part of the game. It really is just a part of the game, penalties. But I never go out there thinking, okay, I'm going to throw 10 penalties this game, hopefully. I hate them. I hate throwing my flag. Just because I know that it's affecting the team's chances of winning the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I would never, and referees, I can say this for all referees with confidence, I think, that referees never go into a game hoping that a team loses or hoping that a team wins. And that they're going to throw as many flags as they can to help that team lose or win. But sometimes when just like Friday night, that crew kept making, mistakes on you guys' behalf. And it really ended up with you guys losing the game by 8 points, by a score. And you had several touchdowns throughout the game that got called back. So, it really hurt you guys. Now, let's talk about the game of the week again. Liberty, led by quarterback Navi. You played with him. So tell me a little bit about him.
Well, he's always been a hardworking kid.
Yeah.
He's a hard worker, dude. I mean, he always has his accuracy and everything.
On point.
Always on point.
Yep.
I played against him in scrimmages for tackle, things like that, and he will run you over if you get in front of him. I mean,
he's not only a passer, he can run the ball too. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's had good grades.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great athlete.
Yeah, and then going back to that game, they're up, but not by much. Liberty takes an 8-minute drive to take the lead, to continue the lead, 26-17 to really put the game away. So that just shows that he can operate, a good offense, but he can slow the pace down, slow the game down. Obviously, it takes a lot of plays to run 8 minutes off. I mean, that's a long time. And it's a slow drive. It's a steady drive, but you're working that clock. Clock management is one of the biggest aspects of winning the football game, because you can score in 30 seconds if you're a really, really good team any day, but that just gives them more time to answer it. So when you take 8 minutes to score, now you're up 2 scores, and they only got, I think they had 2 minutes left by the time they got the ball back. Doesn't really help them very much.
And what's crazy is Saguaro about to miss the playoffs.
2-3.
Hopefully,
2-3.
after being champs in the Open.
Right.
I mean, it's just
I don't want to, sell them short yet, just because they're 2-3. They won. They won it all last year.
They could go 7-3.
They played great teams. I mean, they haven't played any. They haven't had any upset games where we thought they were going to win, and they lost. In my opinion, I kind of figured they were going to lose to Chandler. They did. Chandler's still undefeated, so I can't wait to see what they can do. But big win for Liberty. They're undefeated, ranked third in the state, I believe. So, do you think they're going to go somewhere this year?
Yeah, definitely.
Think so?
Because they're doing
they
their job.
They opened the season beating their rivals 50-0, Sunrise Mountain. So that always feels good. It's a great start to the season, beating your rival team 50-0, and I think sub-varsity and freshmen beat them pretty bad too.
Yeah.
So, great start for Liberty overall, undefeated. Beating a good Saguaro team. I'm not selling it. They're still a great team. They're just matched with a better team. So
yeah.
And then talking about Central's 4-1.
Yeah.
Dominique Bocci.
I have a couple friends that go there.
Yeah.
And I've played with a couple kids.
You
that go there.
played with Dominique, right?
I played with him. My friend Jacoby goes there. My friend CJ goes there. They're all solid players.
They got a good squad.
Yeah, and sounds like they're doing their job.
I think they're gonna smack South Mountain.
Yeah, they're gonna smack South Mountain.
I mean, not that South Mountain's any terrible school, but I mean Central with the role they're on right now, I don't think there's gonna be any difficulty in that game, and I think they're gonna really have a great end of their season. Sorry, getting tongue tied. But guys, that's gonna wrap up our AIA report. Up next, we're gonna do our In the Big Leagues Pro Sports report. So don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. Now it's time for our In the Big Leagues Pro Sports Report. First, we're going to go to our Red Sea report with the Cardinals.
Well, the Cardinals, as we predicted them to do, got it done by beating the Carolina Panthers 26-16. Kyler had a productive day getting done, finished with 2 passing touchdowns and 1 on the ground. Marquise Brown again impressed with 6 receptions on 88 yards and 1 touchdown grab. A big surprise was how good the Cardinals defense played, holding them to 11 first downs and 220 yards. Keep in mind they had 11 drives total, so pretty impressive for sure, and the Cardinals had possessions for 38 minutes, while the Panthers only held the ball for 21 minutes. The Cardinals controlled the tempo of the game and looked strong throughout the course of the game, especially the second half in which only 6 points were allowed.
Pretty good. 26-16. So none of us got the exact score right, but we all predicted them to win. They did. Kyler Murray looked good. 2 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown. Marquise Brown, I think last week he had 14 grabs, this week 8, but still had 88 yards, so still productive. What did you think about watching them yesterday?
Well, I mean, Kyler was being a great leader out there, actually, and all of his balls that he was throwing were pretty good, accurate, and he wasn't using his legs the whole game.
No.
He
uses them more to get out of trouble than really just taking off and running for yards. Most of the time this season, and this has really been all season, he'll escape the sack, run around the backfield, and make a throw. Which that's still using your legs, even though you're not gaining the yards. You're extending the play. But he could definitely do that very well.
Yeah, and the Panthers,
they stink.
They suck. I mean,
11 first downs and 11 drives.
Yeah, and Baker Mayfield, what I saw was missing so many just easy throws, like over the shoulder, corner routes. He was overthrowing it, underthrowing it, throwing it too far outside.
Right. And
he wasn't doing good.
He really reminds me of Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
He was a great college standout. I believe he won the Heisman, did he not? And he was just an amazing player. Gets drafted, first overall pick, just like, Johnny Manziel wasn't drafted first, but he was drafted in the first round by the Cleveland Browns. He plays, he's real swaggy, he's real cool, he's a cool cat in town. But in terms of his numbers, his production, it's just not there.
Yeah. He
played several years with the Browns, and I think he had one good year in which they made the playoffs, but I think they lost first round. And now he's with the Panthers. They're 1-3. They're not very good. And I think he really thought he was going to come to Carolina and really put on a show, and he hasn't. So you got to be tough if you're Baker Mayfield now. But going back to the Cardinals, defense played great. 220 yards allowed. Is that something we need to really believe that our defense is really good, or is it just maybe just because
it's the Panthers?
Just they're so bad.
It's the Panthers.
Really, you think so?
220 yards it's not great to hold a team to only 220 yards, but
it is great.
It's a good number.
Bills' defense is number 1, and they're only allowing 220 yards a game, which that's great. 11 first downs and 11 drives. Impressive.
Yeah.
Now, just watching the game, there was a couple times where I could see Kyler, not get it done on the third down conversion, whether it was a drop or just a bad play. And you look at the sideline, he's yelling, taking himself off, he's frustrated. Do you think there's maybe some frustration in the locker room between the coach and Kyler Murray? Just watching the game, it seemed like there was a lot of frustration, a lot of, bad communication, where you see Cliff Kingsbury, the coach, talking to Kyler, and they're arguing, they're not agreeing on something. I don't know if it's competitive, I don't know what it is, but do you think that's something to be worried about? They got the win, so.
Yeah, it's something to be worried about, because you always need a coach quarterback.
Right.
Like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a
chemistry.
Yeah, chemistry.
You need chemistry.
Yeah. And if you do not have that, it's definitely going to jack up your offense, because without coach quarterback chemistry, it's gonna mess up everything.
Right.
And good teams have great quarterback coach chemistry because they get along and they agree on everything.
Right.
I mean, they may disagree here and there, but they're not having the frustration that Kyler is having with his coach.
Right. And you mentioned that you think Kyler's a really great leader. I think he's a horrible leader so far. Just his interviews after the game, he's consistently throwing the team under the bus. I think he should take a little bit more accountability. There's been times this season where he's made a bad throw on third down. They can't get it done. There's been times where he's getting sacked just trying to extend the play, but he can't. That's on him. It's not on the O-line. He's trying to run around the pocket and he gets sacked. Happens. But I just wish he would take a little bit more accountability for. I mean, they're 2-2. They're not horrible, but they're 2-2. There's something to go brag about. So I just wish he would ease up on his teammates, maybe take some more accountability, or maybe just stay positive. Go to my Broncos. The Broncos are 2-2. Haven't had a great season, but Russell Wilson has continued to be positive about the team, positive about the coaching staff. When the media and the fans are booing him at their own field, that's what's happened. But he stayed positive, and I can appreciate that. And there's several players around the league that do that consistently. They're never bashing their teammates, never bashing the coaching staff. And if they do, they're not doing it in a way where the media is going to see it and just slander the coaches. You know what I mean? Or slander that player for talking like that. Kyler just needs to learn how to do that a little bit better. How to learn how to uplift his teammates and not put them down. And I think once that happens, they'll respect him a lot more as a leader because he's the quarterback. The quarterback has to be the leader.
Yeah.
But I don't think he possesses that capability yet. I think he'll get there. Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully, because
he needs to.
Yeah.
But 2-2. I mean, they gotta start going. They can't keep losing the game then winning the game because we're gonna end at 500. So hopefully they can get it done. Now, guys, that's gonna wrap up our In the Big Leagues Pro Sports Report on the Cardinals. Up next, cap or no cap. So don't go away. Welcome back. Now it's time for cap or no cap. Now, Landon, we talked about the referees in your game all show. Cap or no cap? Referees can cost a team a game.
Cap.
Cap?
Yeah, because you can't. Because it gets to a certain point where you can say, "Oh, the refs cost us the game," and all this. But I mean, if you get to the red zone multiple times, you just don't punch it in, which we did. We did that. We got to the red zone multiple times.
Multiple times. Field goals.
Field goals. I mean,
And even had a 3rd and 7 play, and you guys run the ball.
yeah.
In the red zone, you run the ball. You don't throw the ball.
Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna say cap on this
Okay.
because
Even with multiple things going wrong with your team,
yeah, even
Friday
with
night
multiple
with
things
the
going wrong.
messed up down, the inverted whistle, the penalties.
I mean, those were big costs, but that's like a one-time thing. That you rarely see that happening.
All in one game.
Yeah. So I mean, if you compare it to other games and you lose, you can't really blame everything on the refs because
Right.
you may be making faults too.
Right.
So it's not really technically the refs' fault because they're just
Right.
doing a
They're
job.
just doing their job.
But
Sometimes that
put it
job
in
might hurt
perspective. Yeah, put it in perspective. On my game, that was trash.
you. Yeah.
Just say it out there. But other than that, I'm gonna go with cap because
Cap.
you can't blame the refs for how your team played. What about you?
Well, I'm a referee, so it's obvious cap. I'll never take the blame for a team losing. I might take the blame for a call. Sometimes, I mean, listen, I've reffed a while now, over 5 years, and there's been plenty of times where I'll think back later in the day or later in the game like, man, I shouldn't have called that, or maybe I should have called that, or maybe I could have called that differently. And it's human. I'm sure you go home after a game and say, man, I should have ran this route a little bit better, a little bit faster, should have caught that one ball, and you critique yourself. You critique yourself and you make yourself better. That's what most referees do, I believe. Now, it's cap just because, if you lose a close game and a late call, that game, you shouldn't have allowed the game to be that close and to lose that game. So, but, with that, you can have really, really bad officials that don't care about the game, that don't put any time into learning the rules, put any time to learning the mechanics. That can cost a team a win. Kind of like Friday night. I would say the referees really, really did cost you guys that game. Now, going back, obviously, you guys made some mental mistakes in the red zone. Could have called some better plays, I think. Could have had some better production in the red zone. But still, several touchdowns were called back due to bad officiating. And I'll say that with confidence. So just bad officiating. When I watch you guys' games, I understand the penalties. I understand what they're calling most of the time. And some of the mistakes that they made Friday night was just kind of mind-boggling because I'm sitting there watching like, how does that happen? How do you forget the down? How do you, give them? Well, how do you take away a free down from them? And that really cost you guys. But I'm still saying cap. I'm not changing my opinion. I think that the referees are just, at the end of the day, they're human. They're gonna do their best. I believe. I always do my best. So, yeah. Cap. Yeah. No disagreeing here. Hey guys, that's gonna wrap up cap or no cap for today. It's also gonna wrap up our show today. But we'll see you again on Wednesday. See you then.